Hello, Mr. Lawrence's math students. Some of you have expressed an interest in learning how to long divide. Your skill just, you've got a little gap in your learning and you want to practice it and you know it, and that's awesome. So since some of you asked, Alyssa specifically asked, I'm making this little video here for you before school. When I know you're willing to do the work and you want to succeed, I am going to help you and I'm going to do whatever I can. All right. Pardon me. So I'm going to do two problems, and then I'll have two problems for you to do, and you can check your answers. So first of all, I have 3/15 here. Now, by the way, if you're pretty good with fractions, you know that'll simplify. Okay, you can go ahead and simplify it if you want. But let's say you didn't realize it would simplify. So I'm going to set up my division problem, right? Long division. Now I'm dividing into the 3. So the 3 needs to go in the box, okay? The 15, the denominator, goes outside the box. Now, some of you, when you're long dividing, you're not lining things up. You're just kind of writing numbers everywhere. So I'm going to be very specific on how I set things up. So, does 15 go into 3? Of course not. How many times does it go in? If it doesn't go in, then it must go in 0 times. And notice I put the 0 right above the 3 because 3 was the number I was talking about. Now, it would be silly to multiply and then subtract because I'm just going to get 3 again. So I'm just going to skip that step for this. I'm going to put a decimal point, and I like to put it in 2 places. Now, I only put it in the box to show me that I can add as many zeros as I want. Okay? If I put it... I have to put it here. You don't have to put it here, but I tend to line them up just like that. Okay, now I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 15 not go into 3, but 30? And I'm going to put the answer here. Okay, well 15 goes into 30 twice. So 2 times 15 is 30. And I'm just ignoring that decimal point. That decimal point is just to remind me I can put as many zeros back here as I want. But for purposes of what I'm doing, I'm treating this number as 30 and not 3 and 0/10. Okay, now I subtract and I get 0, which means I'm done. So what I just discovered was that 3/15 is the same as 0 and 2/10. Okay? All right, this one will be a little bit longer. I'm going to set up the division box. So I'm dividing into the 7, so the 7 goes inside the box. 8 goes outside. Okay. I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 7? Well, it goes 0 times again. All right, I need that decimal point. And then I can add as many zeros as I want. I'll do them one at a time. So now I say, how many times does 8 go into 70? Well, if I know my perfect squares, I know 8 times 8 is 64. So 64, this would be 8 eighths. Can I get another 8 in there? Let's see. Can I get a 9th 8 in? Well, let's see. 64, that would be 12, 72. Nope, it's too big, right? 9 eighths would be too many. I'd be at 72. I'm only allowed to go to 70. So the answer would be, to the question, how many times does 8 go into 70? It would be 8 times. Now, 8 times 8 is 64, and now I subtract. 70 minus 64 is going to be 6, and then, of course, I can bring down another 0. Okay? Now, the next digit in my answer is going to go right above this new 0 right here. Okay, I do have to bring that 0 down, so I'll do that. All right, now I want to know how many times 8 is going to go into 60. Well, if 8 times 8 is 64, then it must be only 7, because I'm 4 above if I'm at 64. If I go, 8 below, 8 down from 64, I will be under 60 is what I'm trying to say. So 7 times 8, if you have to do the math off to the side, go ahead. It's 56. Then I subtract. And now I get 60 minus 56 is going to be a 4. And yes, I need another 0. Bring them all the way down to here. Okay. How many times does 8 go into 40? You know, I'm not sure. Let's see, 8, 16, I'm counting by eights, right? 24, 32, 40. Oh, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 eighths fit into 40. When I subtract, I have no remainder. All right, so 7 eighths is the decimal 0 and 875 one-thousandths. Okay, now if you were asked to round, then it depended on where they would tell you to round. If they say round to the nearest tenth, well, this 8 might stay an 8, then again it might become a 9. How do you know? You look at the number behind it. Okay, if the number is 5 or greater, you're more than halfway, so then the number would become a 9. So if I round to the nearest tenth, my answer would be 0 and 9/10, but that's a rounded answer. If I wanted to round to the nearest hundredth, well, then I wouldn't be worrying about the 8, I would be worrying about the 7. And again, I would look behind it. If I have a 5 or more, I'm considered to be more than halfway, or halfway or more, and therefore that number would go up 1. So the answer, if I round to the nearest hundredth, would be 88 hundredths. And again, that's an approximation because it's rounded. For the purposes of long division, I like this answer, but in some situations you might be asked to give round to the nearest tenth or round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so here are two problems, numbers 3 and number 4. I want you to pause the video and try them, okay? I'm going to, if I can find it, all right? If you haven't done the problems yet, go ahead and do it. Here comes the answer for number 3. It ends up to be 6/10 repeating. If you want to stick a 0 in front of that, you are more than welcome to. Okay, 0 and 6/10. Now, if you haven't done problem number 4 yet, please pause the video and do the problem. Okay, here comes my solution, or my answer, excuse me. So it is a repeating decimal, but you don't realize it starts to repeat until the 6th digit. Most people wouldn't go that far. They would probably round to the nearest hundredth and get about 29 hundredths, okay? But if you went far enough, because you were curious, I wonder what's going to happen, then you would get the decimal 0.285714, and it would start repeating. Okay, that's it for the video. It was just intended to be a little bit of practice for you. You can always check out Khan Academy or come in and see me, and I can make up a few problems for you. That'll be it. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.